Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make a cheese ravioli skillet. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make this, and there really is not a lot involved in this, but it makes such a great meal, and there's plenty to go around. If you're cooking for a family, this is just a great thing to make because you can just pair this with some breadsticks if you were making it for lunch or dinner, maybe even a salad, and you are ready to go. So as you can see, not a lot going on here. Everything's going to be cooked in one cast iron skillet while I'm doing this, except for the ravioli, which we're going to have to boil first to bring over. So in our large skillet, we are adding about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're putting this over medium-high heat, and we have 1 cut up onion going into this, which is about a medium-sized onion. And we're going to cook this for a while before we add the beef in. So we're going to go for maybe 3 to 4 minutes just cooking the onion. We want to get it started on its way to being cooked. And once we get it pretty much there, we're going to add in a pound of ground beef. And we're going to go ahead and break that up because we want to actually cook the onion and the ground beef at the same time, get that flavor through it. So we want that ground beef broken up into as small pieces as possible. So we're going to cook this and brown it at the same time. So go ahead and move it around the pan and make sure everything is in there. And we're going to add some seasoning. A half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. And get that in there and mix it around so that way it's going to get in all the ingredients and everything's going to start to merge together here to get some good flavor going. So we're going to cook this, as I said, until our ground beef is browned, because we want to get it to that point before we do anything else to it. And once we're getting pretty brown, we're going to add in some minced garlic. So as you can see, this is really browned at this point. We don't want to add the garlic too soon because then it will start to scorch it or whatever. So we're adding 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And we're going to move this through the ground beef and cook it. We don't want it sitting on the bottom for too long because the worst taste in the world is burnt garlic, so we don't want that happening. So go ahead and mix it through. Make sure it's completely combined in with everything else in the pan, and keep everything moving around a little bit. And we're going to just cook this for a couple minutes as we're mixing it up, because you usually want to cook the garlic for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. You don't want to leave it in there a long time just sitting on the bottom doing nothing. So just want to make sure that it's done, and just keep moving it around. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some diced tomatoes to this. I'm going to use the Italian seasoned kind of diced tomato, which this is a 14.5 ounce can. You just go ahead and pour it straight in with the juices and everything in there. And believe it or not, 14.5 ounces does go a long way when you're putting it in with this. So we're going to mix this around a little bit, get everything incorporated, and get all of those flavors mixing together. And just give it a second to mix through. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to actually add some spaghetti sauce to this. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And then we're going to bring in a 24-ounce spaghetti sauce after this. So what you're going to do with the spaghetti sauce, you can choose if you want traditional cheese, whatever herb, whatever taste you want in it. But you're going to need a 24-ounce kind. Now I used a jar. You can use the can, you can use whatever company that pleases you. But when I go to pour it in, I pour in like a bit of it at a time, mix it up, and then bring some more in after that, just for the fact that I want it to mix through and not splatter everywhere when you're putting it in. So I'd say put in about half of it, mix it up, then come back and bring in the rest of it after you've done that. So like I said, 24 ounces of a spaghetti sauce mix. And it doesn't really matter what company you're using. You can use whatever you want to. Whatever is your favorite, go for it. So you see I added the majority of this in here. It's like probably a little over half of my thing. And I'm going to mix it up. And then I'm going to come back in a second and pour the rest in. I just want to get it kind of mixed in before I get all of it in there. And there's so much in the skillet it's hard to mix around. So go ahead and keep stirring this as you're doing. We want to make sure that everything has a chance to mix up really well. We don't want any one thing sitting in one place too long, and we'll just keep mixing it up. Now, as you can see, this is looking like a really great sauce already because there's so much going on in here. There's so many things that are going to make this really tasty. It's going to be like an amazing food to eat. So go ahead, add in the rest of your sauce, get it in the pan, and then mix through another time. And that way everything is in there. And then after we get this going, we're going to let this simmer for just a few minutes, and we're going to set it to the side, and we're going to move on to our pot where we're going to boil some water to actually put in the ravioli. So once you get everything mixed through, we're going to move on to that next step. Now, just a reminder, you're going to need a large pot for this, and you're going to need it filled at least halfway with water, so that way actually all this ravioli will fit, because 24 ounces of ravioli is quite a lot. And we'll get to that point in just a second. And here's our water. We're going to add some salt, and we're going to use a little bit of olive oil in it. The salt's just going to flavor the ravioli a little bit. The olive oil is going to stop it from sticking together, or hopefully stop it from sticking together, and it should. And then we're just going to add in all of our bag of ravioli. So this is the ravioli you get from the frozen food section. It's just basically, there's a lot in these bags. Now, mind you can get different size bags. We're aiming for something around 24 ounces because we're not trying to overload this skillet with like tons of this stuff. But I'm putting the whole bag in here that I have. And this is really not expensive at the store, because I think literally I paid like $2 and something for this bag of ravioli. It was not bad because I got it at Walmart. But it's a good thing. It has a great taste, and when you put it with a really great sauce, it's just amazing. So we're going to cook these for the allotted time it says on the bag. And as they're starting to be done, because it says it takes like 4.5–5 minutes to cook these, they'll start to actually rise up on the top of the water, and you know you're pretty much at the point where they're done at that point, and you can actually get ready to move on to your next step. And that means we're going to be removing these and eventually adding them to the sauce. So what we're going to do is take our sauce, which is still hot from our skillet, and we're going to add in about 1/2 cup of mozzarella. And this is going to give it a little bit of cheese in the sauce itself. So we're going to go ahead and just mix this through and let it start to melt before we add in our ravioli. So go ahead and mix that through a little bit. And then we're going to bring over our ravioli just a few at a time and adding them in, because we want to push them into the sauce. Because you don't want them just sitting on top, because we're going to put these under a broiler in a minute just to melt the extra cheese going on top of all of this. And we want to make sure that, you know, we don't singe the edges of them that much. So go ahead and bring in your ravioli, and as you do it, just push them down in, because you want to get them coated so that way the ravioli takes on the taste of the sauce itself. So keep mixing them through until you've gotten everything out of your pot. And this is where a slotted spoon is your friend, because you can actually just reach into your pot and pick them up and make sure that there's any water or anything excess in the bottom. It's not going to really come with it. It's going to drip out as you're picking them up from your pot, because you know you don't want all that water ending up in your sauce. It's just going to water your sauce down, and it's not nice. So go ahead and add all of these in. And as I said, you know, we had cheese left over from before, which is about 1/2 cup. And what we're going to do is just sprinkle that over the top. We're not trying to coat the whole top of this with cheese. We're not overloading it, because the ravioli themselves are cheese ravioli. So we don't want to add extra cheese, because there's some cheese in the sauce. There's going to be cheese on top, and there's going to be cheese in the ravioli. So we don't want to like totally go overkill on this. But we do want to make sure that they are kind of pushed down into the sauce quite a lot before we do this. But once we get the other cheese on top of here, they're going to go into the broiler just long enough for you to melt that cheese. And that way, this is going to be ready to eat. So here we go. We're pushing in our last little bit of cheese here, which is about 1/2 cup. And then we're going to put this under the broiler and let it melt some. And when it comes back, it will look something like this. And this is such an amazing thing to eat. I paired it with some breadsticks, and it was an amazing meal. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.